Adam Caplan from Inside the Birds podcast is here. You can find on any podcasting platform or on their YouTube channel. Just search Inside the Birds, and he's with me now. And Adam, it was right around this time yesterday that the Eagles added a safety. Kevin Byard, the all-pro safety, is here. So let's get into it. Why did the Eagles decide to pull the trigger on this deal?
Yeah, so Mike, this is good because I see our the Q&A show, the Jason Avant and Quentin Michael show dropped this morning, and they talked about it, so our podcast numbers are way up. So, yeah, we love this. Look, what we're told is over the last few weeks, they've been looking into the safety market, the cornerback market in particular. They're their two biggest priorities. They got one of them done. This is a good one. Look, it's not a major trade, but it's a trade they had to make. We'll reveal some names that they've been looking at on tomorrow's show with Jeff Mosher and I at 6 a.m. Eastern, but Byard's a guy that is a proven player in this league, two-time All-Pro, two-time Pro Bowler. Now, is he the same player he once was? No. He's 30 years old. He's not quite what he once was looking into this, but super durable, super high character, a leader. It's the kind of guy you want. When you're trying to make a Super Bowl run, this is the kind of guy you add. You know, I was joking, for those of you who really followed the Eagles, are a little bit older, you might remember Tim Houck. Tim Houck who's also wound up winning a Super Bowl with the Eagles in 17 as a defensive backs coach. But Houck was a guy that Andy Reid knew from their days with the Packers, and he'd bring him back every year. And Houck always had something left in the tank. And you look at when they added Corey Graham, you might remember in 17, Mike, who really helped them win a Super Bowl. This is the kind of move you got to make. Yeah, they're a little bit older now. Three out of their four starters are 30 years or older, both corners and the safety. So that's a little concerning being older. But overall, Mike, you're not worried about 24. You're worried about 23, and this is the kind of move they had to make.
Yeah, so let's talk about Byard and what he brings to the table, what he adds to that safety room in that position. That was really a revolving door. I mean, Blankenship has been hurt. Evans is hurt. You had Edmonds out there. You had Sidney Brown out there. So it really hasn't been stabilized yet. So what will he bring to the safety room?
Yeah, so let me address that. That's a good point, Mike. Because if you look at it, just look at the way the season started. Justin Evans was a starter. He's on injury reserve. Reed Blankenship, definitely a starter. He just missed more time, Mike, as you know. He's missed 2 games separately with separate rib injuries. So both starters are hurt. They put out Sidney Brown, who missed 3 games due to a hamstring injury. Now, had Blankenship and Sidney Brown not been hurt? Are they making this trade? Probably not. But things have changed here. They could not wait for Brown to stabilize the position. He just got back, as you know, recently. And they're just so thin at that position. And Mekhi Gardner has got snaps at safety the last 2 weeks. That's not what they were looking to do. But they had to move him there. They ran out of players. So, Mike, you're absolutely right. And one thing to look for, we mentioned this on our last show, watch out for Kindle Vildor, who was signed to their practice squad. He played for Desai with the Bears. He was their nickel corner for 2 years. He's not a bad player, not a great athlete, but a smart player. Guy, if they can't acquire a slot corner, he's a guy who's going to get some snaps there. And look, they now have once Blankenship is ready. We'll learn more about what it looks like in practice this week. You've got Byard and Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and they'll see who the fourth safety will be because we don't know about Justin Evans when he'll get back, whether it's Mekhi Gardner, who reverted back to the practice squad on Monday. But the fact of the matter is, Mike, they had to address this position. This is they couldn't go forward with this thing. They just couldn't. You're trying to win a Super Bowl here. This is not, okay, we're playing for next year like a lot of these teams that know they're not a playoff team and they'll just play younger players. That's not what they're doing here. They're trying to win a Super Bowl. And to do it, they had to do something.
Yeah, Adam Caplan from Inside the Birds podcast is with us, Football at 4. Yeah, so it looks like, you got Slay and Bradbury. I guess Roby it would be the guy long-term. And then you got Blankenship and Byard there, right? So Roby and Byard will be the 2 new guys. Is Roby the guy they want in that spot?
Well, at slot corner, yes. But, Mike, he's hurt, and I'd be surprised if he's available this week. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
We'll see what happens in practice this week. But, yeah, they're looking into that. They're still monitoring the cornerback market, whether it's outside corner or slot. They're looking into it. But safety was such a priority, and they've done that. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't look at other positions as well.
All right, and then of course you got Blankenship, who I don't know, would he be? He might not be available again this week. We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, we don't know yet. Yeah, again, this is his second rib injury, and they got to get these guys up to speed. Now, one thing I would tell you is that it was good that they made this trade now for Byard because he gets to go to practice this week. It's like if they would have made it, let's say Thursday, the chance of him playing this week were slim. There's really no reason to think that he can't play. Now, the question is how many snaps could he handle? They'll figure that out as they get through practice this week, Mike. But this is good that they're able to get him back. And
yes.
Again, to get Byard in here early, because he'll be at practice tomorrow, and that's the big thing.
All right, let's look at the win over the Dolphins because there's a lot in there. Adam Caplan, what do you take and what did you learn about what we saw from the offense? 31 points. I don't know. Were we impressed? Did they have a big, explosive offensive night? 31 points. What did we learn?
Yeah, I thought, Mike, that was – let's start on offense, right? And they scored 31 points. Now, Xavier Howard was a surprise inactive. They were not thinking Friday, as I understand, that he wouldn't be playing. But the groin was not – the groin injury just could not get loose, so they made him inactive. So they were starting really two backup corners. Remember, Jalen Ramsey was not available for the game. He just started coming back. He started practicing last week for the meniscus surgery, but they said it's going to take a little bit longer. So they started Eli Apple, who's a guy that you're going to pick on. They did. Kerry Kohu, who's a second-year corner who's probably better inside than outside. And they had an advantage. They took advantage of it. They tried to run the ball. I mean, Swift looked good. He had that one incredible move. But we know the Eagles want to be a passing team, not a running team. And with what they've got tied up money-wise with A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, you're going to throw the football. That's what they want to be. I give Hurts all the credit in the world for playing through that left leg injury, which he's had for a couple weeks at least. One thing I do want to mention, and we mentioned this on our show, and Greg Cosell also agreed with us, Hurts does not look explosive running the football. He really is not. I know that he's still running a lot. He ran the ball 11 times for just 21 yards. We understand some of them, or the tush push. But he doesn't look explosive. He's very strong, though. And we don't have an answer why, Mike. It's just what the tape has showed since week one. Not as explosive as last season, but passing it, Mike, look, the turnovers are concerning. No doubt he has too many of them. Had the one interception, which was bad. The fumble, the fumble, which is concerning. Got to clean it up. That you can't have that. Trying to be a championship team, and one of the reasons why they're not as successful offensively as last season, Mike, is the turnovers, and that's certainly something that's got to be cleaned up. But the A.J. Brown connection's remarkable to me. What he's doing is, and the play strength that A.J. Brown has is incredible. Now, I know people want Devontae Smith to get the football. Look, in each game, all three are not going to get the ball. That's just it's too hard to do. I've never seen it before covering the business in nearly 25 years where game in and game out, 3 pass targets are going to get the football heavily. It's just not going to happen. A.J. Brown is unstoppable right now. You look at what Stephon Diggs is doing with the Bills where they don't really have a second pass target. Well, Gabe Davis is, but he's inconsistent in terms of getting the football. But it's good to see lately that Goddard's getting it. And he was really good in the game. We said that prior to the game that would be one thing we would see against the Vic Fangio coach defense. Yes, the actual Vic Fangio, not just the scheme, the actual Vic Fangio. Tight ends could do well, and he sure did. That was good to see that.
All right, let's flip over to the defense because obviously they've been the story. They gave up just 10 points, 7 on an interception return. So the defense was dominant there, and that's a shorthanded defense. We heard a lot about the Dolphins and their injuries, and yes, they had some injuries. The Eagles going with a really, the 2 safeties not there. What are they on their 4th or 5th nickel corner? So what is Sean Desai doing defensively?
He's doing a great job. And what they're doing in practice, Mike, is they're clearly defining their roles. They're explaining to them what they want out of them. Give the defensive backs coaches, they have a couple of them. DK McDonald's the one who's overseeing it. They coach him up really well. Now, he's a guy who's coached in college for decades, and I know him and Sirianni are tight. They've known each other for many years. That they've done a phenomenal job of getting these kids ready. And to do this, Mike, we mentioned Mekhi Garner playing some safety. He's really a corner. Now, Terrell Edmonds was traded, Mike, we should mention. He simply never played well. I mean, let's call it like it is. High-character guy. He's really a 3rd or 4th safety. You don't want him to be the starter. But we saw in this game, Mike, that Brown played 94% of snaps, and Edmonds played all the snaps. That's not what you want. And at corner, they mixed and matched the best that they could. Eli Ricks, look, he's not a natural slot corner. He's doing what he's been asked to do to play inside when needed. He's an outside corner. You're not going to get away with this for much longer. I get it. They got away with it against the Dolphins. Washington, as you know, Mike, the first game, we'll get to that in a minute, they were super aggressive against the Eagles secondary, and they did very well. They almost pulled off that big upset. So that is the one thing that concerns me, the lack of depth at slot. They have to do something. They can't rely on Bradley Roby to come back healthy. And by the way, he's 31 years old.
Yeah, that slot corner has been a revolving door of guys, so we'll see how that kind of gets if Roby can't play moving forward here. Good stuff, Adam Caplan here. Any concerns about the game? We'll talk more Friday, but just first kind of, Washington, they look terrible this week. I know it's a week-to-week thing, but boy, they look terrible. You've got some dissension going on. They're tired of this crap down there. Any concerns about the Commandos, as you like to call them, the commies?
Yeah, Jonathan Allen, who I met at ESPN in 2017, he's been, because they've done nothing but lose. Unfortunately, they've not really done anything. Even when they won the division, they had a losing record. So yeah, he's frustrated. Sam Howell's taken way too many sacks. They're super gifted at the receiver position, and you know what's going to happen. They're going to try to spread the Eagles out. They did a great job of that. Curtis Samuel hurt them. McLaurin hurt them. McLaurin's had some really good games against them. Their offensive line's not very good. The Eagles will have a certain advantage of them against them. And then the Washington defense, they've got a really good front, no question about it. They're okay corner, nothing special. They're certainly beatable. And by the way, the weather, Mike, the early forecast calls for about 80 degrees. It's incredible in Landover, Maryland.
Very nice. All right, there you go. Our first look at the Commanders. Adam will be back on Friday. It's football at 4 here on the Sports Bash. Kevin Byard is here. And, of course, Adam, a old-fashioned 1 o'clock kickoff. You like that?
I do. And, by the way, Kevon Wallace was just cut. The Cardinals,
really?
He was just released. And he was starting, believe it or not.
Yeah, he played a lot. He was playing a lot, though.
Went on IR. Yeah, it's a shame.
How about it? All right. Adam, we'll talk to you on Friday, man.
Sounds good, thanks.
Adam Caplan, co-host of Inside the Birds podcast, of course, football at 4 here on the Sports Bash.